from different places in the world as a possible way of how to deal with the frontier aspects of AI development. Because instead of detailing in the legislative act the every aspect of the risk mitigation that we ask now to the big developers, we decided to put in the AI Act the provision of having this code of practice that would come, as Professor Benjo explained very clearly, from a co-legislative process involving civil society, developers, small, medium, big enterprises, and academia, in an exercise that would allow to build a more adherent to the present situation and evolution of the AI landscape, of a set of rules to actually prevent existential risks, but also we call them systemic risks that deal with our democracies, with our freedom as citizens. I mean, with the code of practice, we try to build a culture of restraint in the functioning of systems that can prevent risks of damaging our democratic processes by spreading misinformation or contrasting the cyberbullying or the criminal actions through the use of AI. I think we built a very clear framework, because I think it's very important to be clear, not to have vague proposals that are very loosely interpretable, but maintaining a certain degree of flexibility. We are clear on what we want to pursue. However, I think it will be very important, and so I need to subscribe to what Professor Benjo said at the end of his speech, that and this is our effort from the Parliament side, that we provide the European AI Office all the means to actually implement this code of practice, because it's true that, as it was said, many companies are already complying with many of the risk mitigation aspects that are in the code of practice. But we need to be sure that we can be at the same level of these very powerful private actors to do our part in making the rules that we decided applicable, effective, and so build trust. In the end, to conclude, this is our objective. We want the code of practice to contribute in building trust among our citizens on the fact that we can innovate without sacrificing human rights and protection of our fundamental values. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brando. Now we still have very few minutes left, so I would like to exploit the opportunity of your presence to ask you, maybe if you can say in 1 minute, Sean, you have already said this, but maybe you can reformulate or come up with one recommendation for the leaders at this summit on the way that we can govern AI in the future. What would you say to them?
In 1 minute, I would say the role of our leaders, the role of us as scholars, the role of us as governance experts is to create the conditions for the safe and beneficial development of AI. Right now, I do not believe those conditions entirely exist because exactly of the things that the CEOs of the leading companies say. They say they would like to be able to take additional steps, but under the competitive geopolitical pressure therein, they do not feel that they are able to. We should be hearing that. That should be a red alarm bell for us. And so what we need to do is figure out how do we create the conditions where it is possible for them to take these additional steps, to put additional focus on safety, to share expertise if needed, to coordinate, and potentially even to slow down before critical points. And that doesn't just mean European companies, it doesn't just mean US companies, it also means our colleagues in China who are making such impressive progress. We need to figure out what is a way in which we can bring everyone to the table as equals and figure out how to cooperate on this challenge of our time.
Paola?
I would say focus on the use cases. So right now there's a gigantic gap between sort of our perception of this incredible power of the technology and how quickly organizations can deploy it. And the bottleneck is about how they know how to trust it in the right context because the answer is very different in medicine than it is for customer service. And so I think when we start to focus on context, the right use cases, what trust controls look like in those domains in local context, that's where we unlock not only productivity but trust in the same breath.
Well, in my opinion, we need to, again, as it was said earlier by Professor Eigerteig, it's very difficult for me to figure the pronunciation. But anyway, um, we need to not put in contrast safety um, at the highest terms and the focus on diffusion, on action, on impact, the title of this summit. I think this can go in parallel and it must go in parallel because there are um, um, areas of deployment of AI where without international cooperation we are facing huge risks. We hope that the code of practice will be a way to enlarge this discussion and build a reference point, as I said, but we need to go even further. We have issues regarding military use of AI. We have issues regarding the loss of control risks that also Professor Benjo has been looking a lot at with his research that are in need of further cooperation. I don't think this will come from the business, but not because they are bad. It's not their role. It must come from the public institutions. And so we need to send this message to our leaders. Don't lose any more time. You need to sit down and use these occasions to do progress. We need that, and we do not need to lose any more time on this.
Thank you very much. So I would like to close this very interesting panel simply to say that what we have tried to discuss and conclude in this session is the fact that innovation and trust can go together, and we can find different ways to make sure that trust is ensured or enabled in a particular country or in a particular continent, but we will need to continue working together, and we also happy to have presented to you some elements of the code of practice. Please take a look at that code of practice, in particular look at the safety chapters, and you will see that these are probably standards to which other countries can sign up to. And thanks a lot for your participation. We look forward to continuing this discussion with you and with all the colleagues in this summit. Thank you very much, and thanks to our panelists.
Speakers should come for a group photograph. Yes, sure. Nice to meet you.